Hey guys, what's going on? This is Pants Art Dragon, and today we'll be doing the top 5 best junglers for patch 5.24. So we didn't do one for patch 5.23, and in this patch, Mundo got a nerf, Kindred gets a nerf on her W's passive, the healing, Quinn gets a nerf on her base damage, and base damage over Q, plus the AD ratio, and the mana cost goes up. Ramas' Q slow duration went down by 1 second, I don't think it matters too much, but the champion's hit radius went down, and yeah, that's about it. But he will go down because of some other issues he's kind of lacking, which I'll mention in the video, and Skarner got a nerf. Anyways, with all that being said, let's get started. Alright, so number 5 is gonna be Graves. He is still one of my personal favorite niche picks. Like, he did actually get nerfed in patch 5.23, which was a hotfix in patch 5.22, but I did not really notice it too much. Now Graves does a bunch of damage in the jungle and has a lot of sustain, barely takes any, because of his E, the knockback from his auto attacks, and how he can damage multiple creeps in one auto attack. Plus his Q will always do the amount of damage it should do. As well, jungle creeps can't dodge. And don't forget his E, always giving him armor and another bullet to knock him away. And in teamfights, if he does get that second part of his Q's damage off on the enemy team, it'll do a bunch of damage, combining that with his R, and you've basically won a teamfight if it hits a lot of people. The only thing that kind of sucks about him is his short range, so if the enemy is doing a good job of cutting him and his team, well, it's kind of hard for him to get up close and personal. Next up, we do have Knittel. So in this patch, she did get a very small minor buff, which increases her Q damage by a little in the early game. But this meta is all about the early game, so it does help. So, as we all know, she's really good at clearing the jungle, especially after level 6 when all of her abilities do get a pretty good increase in damage. And when she gets going with a kill or two, she can become very dominant around the map. Now, what really sucks about her is that she does fall off pretty hard when it comes to the late game when enemies get magic resist, as her spears start to tickle at that point. And also, sometimes, she can't always go in cougar mode, so she just kind of sits there and throws spears until she can actually go in cougar form and kill some people. But yeah, I mean, if you're in low reload, don't play her because, well, she's kind of hard to play. And also, games probably tend to go over to like 35 minutes or so, where at the point she'll probably be falling off. Next up is going to be Elise. So Elise, great with the new Tracker's Knife as he doesn't have to buy Sightstone anymore. Or he can go skirmish his saber and leave his trinket as the warding totem. It does not really matter too much because, well, we're emphasizing the early game. And that's what Elise is best at. So, snowballing that early game, making the enemies cry when they see him gank his lane, and just dominating the map. Also, he does start building tank after he gets a warrior, so, tank items are really good in the preseason and season 6. The one thing you have to look out for when playing Elise is you gotta be good at him to actually be efficient, as most junglers will outscale him. And also a statement, a good Elise is the only useful Elise. Anything under is, well, just straight up bad. So yeah, only play him if you're good with him. Next up is gonna be Kindred. So her sustain with her W has gone down by like 20 at level 1, which I do feel like should be a pretty big amount, but she doesn't really have a huge problem with clearing the jungle and sustaining in it, so it didn't affect her too much. And her ultimate's cooldown has gone up by 10 seconds at level 6. Although her ultimate in the early game is not used a lot since she's going to be the one in advantageous situations where she's either diving, like she doesn't really use it that much. So these nerfs, which didn't affect her damage, is, well, not really a big nerf, just a little minor one. So yeah, she's still pretty good. And at number 1, the most banned champion in this game right now, Mundo. So his nerf was on his Q and E, where they reduced the damage of his Q against monsters by 50 damage per level, so instead of being 350, it's 400 on the level 2 one. Also, his Q's percent damage now goes up by 2.5% per level, instead of 3%, 3%, and then 2% and 2%, which is actually really weird, and well, look, it's actually right here. Kind of funny it had scaling like that, so I guess it's good that they evened that out. And also the on-hit effect of his E is now 3% at level 1, but eventually it actually gets to 5%. Also, people do max out E seconds, so he eventually gets it around like level 13. So basically, they just nerfed his early game a little bit, so that's not a big deal, since he is a mid-game to late-game monster. The real reason why he's really good right now is because of how the items work with armor, and the mastery changes have really good synergy with him, so that's why he's really good. And now we're going to be doing some honorable mentions. First up is going to be Elise. So I keep seeing her in my games, definitely a strong jungler since, well, they didn't really change her kit too much. I mean, we still got that 1.6 second stun, but a bunch of AP items and Runeglaive is weaker in this season, so that indirectly nerfs her. But still good, because she likes the early game and can dominate it fairly well. Next up is going to be Quinn. So I feel like she's more of an AD carry or a top laner. She just scales really well into the mid game and late game. So I feel like the quicker she can get her item build done, the more effective she will be. So in the jungle, although she is really good at ganking enemies with her R, she's kind of set back in terms of item build and has to like be snowballing or something to do good. Also, a bunch of damage on her has been nerfed. So she's not as, well, actually she's still fairly annoying with that stupid blind, so that's why she's an honorable mention here. And then we have NA Rengar. Now this guy, he's also a cunt too. If I didn't say this before in my other videos, well, he's actually much better in this season because of the jungle changes, such as giving lifesteal on hit to junglers who buy the machete, and he is an on hit jungler, and also an AD one at that. So his sustain in the jungle is better, and he also likes critting people, so he's got that crit synergy for season 6. The only problem is with Rengar, you gotta be very skilled at him, because, well, you've probably seen the difference between a bad Rengar and a good Rengar. A good Rengar is actually good, while a bad one just sucks and useless. Basically every NA Rengar. And then up next we do have Ramas. So my problem with Ramas is that he gets kited fairly easily, and something like Bran actually messes him up since, well, he's an armor based champion. But nonetheless, he is a tank who has a lot of magic resistant armor from his W. It's very hard to pierce him when he's in that form. Also, just shits on anything that's AD. But you don't really see him a lot in high elo because he's kinda easy to maneuver around. And up next we do have Rek'Sai. So Rek'Sai could be number 5 and make Graves disappear. But Graves is my personal niche, and I have a hard-on for him, for some reason, I don't know why. But Rek'Sai is still good, coming from a lot of opinions from other junglers, and I guess I can say myself too. Although personally, I've only used him once in a normal game, but I mean, if he was a season 5 jungler who was at the top of the food chain, so yeah, she's still probably going to be good in season 6. And that is it for this tier list. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Make sure to leave a like if you liked it, or leave a dislike. And I kind of want to talk about streaming, so if you guys don't know, I'm in a house where I don't have a lot of upload speed, but I'll be returning back to my previous house very shortly, and I should start streaming after December 16th, which is the date of my last exam. So yeah, I can probably start streaming regularly again after the 16th, and hopefully we'll see you there at twitch.tv/LuigiDragon. And yeah, that is it for this video. I hope you guys enjoyed it, and I'll see you guys next time.
Got ignited. I'm on a flash.
Look,
Chance, why don't you kill him?
Oh, because I'm going to roll into him and then fucking run away. Ah!